It's really useful to be able to pull pre-trained models off the internet to use in our applications if we're tackling a problem which somebody else has built the model for. But the problem is there are so many very specific use cases and nuances in each different application that you want to apply machine learning to that there's not going to be a pre-trained model for everything. So for example, you can pull a pre-trained AlexNet off the internet, but that AlexNet is trained to classify the 1,000 different classes from the ImageNet dataset. And I might have an application where I just want to classify between different books, for example. The classes which each of those models is predicting is very different. So the predictions from AlexNet, which is pre-trained on ImageNet, isn't going to be useful for my specific task. So it sounds like I'm going to have to train my own model from scratch. But what if we could take some of what the pre-trained AlexNet has learned on ImageNet and apply the same learning to our new model? Because probably a lot of what it has learned about the images in the ImageNet dataset, things like, how do I find shapes? How do I find different textures? What is an animal versus a person versus different objects that can appear in images? Those different features which AlexNet's learned to extract, they can also be useful for my task of, say, classifying different book genres from what they look like. I don't know, something like that. So what we want to do is called transfer learning. That is taking the learning from one model and applying it to another so that we don't have to train our new model for our specific problem totally from scratch. We can start from somewhere. But what that means specifically is taking some of the weights and biases, the parameters of the pre-trained model, and putting them in our new model, then maybe changing them a little bit, and also changing the architecture of the model slightly so that it fits my problem. So I might have a problem where I've got 10 different classes I want to classify versus the 1,000 which pre-trained AlexNet is trained on for ImageNet. So there's a number of different ways to do this, which I'll take you through, but the key point is that you can take learning from one model and apply it to another, and that's transfer learning. It can be really useful for getting a good baseline without much effort rather than training everything from scratch yourself.